friends, it is Danny, and welcome to the very first episode of Cooking the Books, a new series that I have been working on / developing / procrastinating to do for almost 3 years now. First time I ever brought up this idea was in 2015 in a video. I don't even remember which one. It recently got commented on again with a suggestion for a name, the name that I'm using, which was a name that I was considering way long time ago when I figured I would do this series. So that comment kind of got me back into the thinking of how I was going to do this series on my channel, or if I was even going to do this series on my channel, and what I wanted to create for the content of this series. Basically what I'm trying to say is Cooking the Books is going to be a series in which I create and teach you how to make treats related to books. It's as simple as that. Like I said, I've wanted to do this series for a very long time, and I've just now recently been like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it and try it out. So I thought, what a better way to start it off than by doing a treat from one of my favorite books of all time, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Miss Becky Albertalli. This is one of my favorite books. It is very well known, and on top of that, its movie is releasing on the 16th of March, which is called Love, Simon. And so in honor of its movie release and the fact that I just love it so much, I decided to do some treats based on the book / movie. If you have not read this book, the very short synopsis of this is it's about a 16-year-old boy named Simon. He is gay, he is not out at all, and he's developing a crush and falling in love with a boy through email, and he only knows this boy's name as Blue. This book is a coming of age story and a coming out story. The movie to this is equally as amazing. I got to see it at the end of January, and now it is coming out for everybody to see, so I'm very excited for everybody to see it. It is such an important movie. It is such an amazing movie, and I highly recommend you go see it. The other thing you need to know about this book is that the main character Simon and also Blue are obsessed with Oreos. I mean, they're so obsessed there are Oreos on the cover. And so what better way to start off with something relatively easy than to use this book and its favorite snack as a basis to create some treats. I have 3 desserts to show you today. One is what I like to call the cookies and cream Oreo explosion cookies, because cookies and cream candy bars and also Oreos in a chocolate chip cookie dough. So it's great. Chocolate chip cookie wrapped Oreos, because why not? Third, maybe the controversial one here, because Becky Albertalli does not like golden Oreos, and it is an ongoing debate / fight between her and Angie Thomas about golden Oreos actually being considered an Oreo and good. I am personally team golden Oreo. I'm sorry, Becky. So for people who do like the golden Oreos, like myself and Angie Thomas, I have a mug cake recipe, which is to die for. Without further ado, let us get into it and start creating some delicious Oreo treats inspired by Simon. The first recipe that we are going to be doing is the cookie that I have dubbed the cookies and cream Oreo explosion cookies. Now we're gonna head over to VoiceOver Danny to show you how to make it. So these are all of the things you are going to need to make the Oreo explosion cookies. 2 eggs, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup or 2 sticks of unsalted butter, 2 1/4 cup flour, 4 Hershey's cookies and cream candy bars chopped up, 1 cup of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of vanilla, and 1 package of delicious Oreos. You'll also need a baking sheet, 2 bowls, 2 spoons, a plastic bag. As you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm putting Oreos into said bag, and I'm going to use the rolling pin to crush up the Oreos into small, tiny pieces to fit into our cookies. From there, you can grab your first bowl and add in 1 cup of butter and mix it until it is nice and smooth before creaming in together your brown sugar and white sugar. The idea is to get it as smooth as it possibly can be, making sure that there are no chunks of sugar still
clumped into the butter. And in the words of my trusty assistant Anna, who you can see throughout this video, she says you're looking for the consistency of a sandy beach. Then when you have that consistency, you're going to stir in 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and 2 eggs until it is smooth. This time you're looking for the consistency of a really, really smooth baby food, as Anna says. Then in another bowl, you are going to combine 2 1/4 cup all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt, and you're going to mix that up until it's all well combined because you're going to be adding it into your wet ingredients after this. Then you're going to keep adding in your dry ingredients until they're all well combined into a soft looking dough. I would suggest doing it in thirds because then you're not working with too much flour and having it go everywhere like we did. Now it's time for the good stuff. So here I have 4 Hershey's chocolate bars. They are the cookies and cream kind, which obviously features Oreos. And so you just mix all of those in. Just make sure that all of the chocolate that you just put in is mixed throughout the dough evenly, because once you put the Oreos in, the dough gets pretty thick, and you want to make sure that each cookie gets enough Oreo and enough chocolate, because that is what represents the chocolate chip of this Oreo explosion cookie, and you want it in every single bite of the cookie. Make sure your Oreos are relatively chopped up small within the bag. Some of the Oreos I had to crush with my hands once they went into the dough. So if you want them to all be the same size, I would just make sure that they're all broken down before you put them in the dough. Now would be a great time to tell you to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. You're going to spoon cookies onto a greased cookie sheet. You can just use butter or margarine or whatever you've got if you want to use cooking spray, but they should be a tablespoon's worth of cookie dough, and then you pop them into the oven for 11 minutes on 350. Once they are all completely cooled, you can then start removing them from the tray and placing them onto the plate. As you can see, they spread out pretty far, so I would suggest doing 6 to a tray, just because of how wide they spread, but they are soft and chewy and also crispy on the edges and delicious. Here are our taste tests.
Are they the kind of cookies we like? The small, the thin ones? Yeah? Are they good?
Yeah. Well, you gave me the chocolatiest part. I'm going all, oh my god. I'm a good cooker, this one turned out. The time number 3 at an Oreo dessert. We're gonna be real honest with you.
And there you have Simon's Oreo Cookies and Cream Explosion Cookies. Next we have Oreo chocolate chip cookies. These are literally just chocolate chip cookies with Oreos inside. Basically, I just greased a pan. Again, it's the same batter that we made in the first recipe, except you're adding normal chocolate chips to it instead of cookies and cream chocolate bars. You take a scoop of your cookie, you place an Oreo on the inside, you put more of the cookie on the top, and you fold in the edges to make sure it covers the Oreo completely. Place them in the oven at 350 for about 13 to 14 minutes, and then you want to move the tray in your oven up closer to the top of your oven and hit the broil button and leave them in for about 2 to 3 minutes to make the top a little bit more golden brown, just to make sure that the top gets cooked evenly. We found that if you didn't do that, the top might end up a little bit raw because the Oreo kind of restricts the heat hitting the top of the cookie, but once we put it under the broiler, it completely turned out great. Because this dough makes such thin cookies, we found that we had to cut around a lot of the cookies once they were done baking to just have the outline of the Oreo, but if you wanted to make a stiffer dough, you could add more flour to this recipe or find a different chocolate chip recipe that will hold to the Oreos better, but this is what they turned out to look like. Next, and probably my favorite of the 3, is a white chocolate golden Oreo mug cake. You're going to need 1/4 cup white chocolate chips, 3 tablespoons of milk, 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, half a tablespoon of vegetable oil, and 2 to 3 crushed Oreos for each cake. I'm making 3, that's why I've got so much. The first thing you are going to do is take 1/4 of a cup of white chocolate chips and put them into your mug. This is all being made in the mug because that's the easiest way to do it. You're going to combine that with 3 tablespoons of milk per cake, and then you are going to take this mixture over to the microwave, pop it in for 40 seconds, and when it comes out, you're going to stir it until the chocolate is completely melted and mixed in with the milk. Then you are going to mix in all your other ingredients, so you're going to add 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 tablespoon of vegetable oil or melted butter, and crush up your 2 Oreo cookies, or 3 if you're feeling fancy, and then add them all in and stir it all together until it is well combined and makes a cake batter. From there, you're going to take it to the microwave and microwave it for 1 minute and 50 seconds. You'll know when it's done when you can stick a fork into it and have no crumbs left on your fork.
You don't want it with the icing, so you get to eat yours now.
She's making a volcano. It's gonna blow.
Is it good?
Bringing it all back to the book, I dyed some normal icing into the reddest color I could get with the dye that I had, and I'm just piping with a star tip a little swirl of icing to make it look right cute, and then I have some blue sanding, dusting, decorating sugar because blue in the book, and there's the cake.
That's the first bite.
I really like the crust that you made. It's really flaky, extremely delicate.
It's good.
I'm not tasting any of the sweetness.
It's really good.
Just much needed.
And there you have it, 3 Oreo treats inspired by Simon.
And that concludes the first episode of Cooking the Books. If you enjoyed this episode of Cooking the Books and you want to see more, please leave some comments down below listing some of the books you want me to read so that I can try and create or recreate some of the treats or things that are in said book. I have some ideas for Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, and maybe also one for Fangirl, who knows? One that I would also really like to try and do a treat for is To All the Boys I'd Love Before, just because it is such a baking related book. But please, if you have any suggestions as to what books I should be reading to get some ideas of what should be in future episodes of Cooking the Books, then please let me know, because I definitely want to do more of these. I just really want to be doing content that you guys will enjoy and also related to books that you guys have already read, and so any help you can send me would be great. That is it for this video, you guys. I don't know what my next one's going to be, but whatever it is, I will see you guys in that one.